Hoi hoi. For you, at least 2 days have passed. For me, it has been mere seconds. Let's go into funworld and basically continue talking about the idle culture. In terms of Minecraft, we're still doing wood acquiring, resources extraction is very important to us. Oh yeah, while we're waiting, subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed. If you have subscribed already, unsubscribe and subscribe again. Where are we? Oh, wait a sec. Is this working? Okay, I hope it's working. It looked like it wasn't working for a second. I hope it's not all cut off. Anyway, okay, yeah, we were talking about the show, the meat of the whole thingy-majig. Except that it wasn't the meat of it. Like I said in the last one, they didn't really like. Well, the music wasn't the most center. There was long parts where they were just talking, doing like kind of like stand-up-y. Oh, that is weird. That is spoopy. Am I going to be okay? Yep, seems like I'm gonna be okay. Oh, the ghost is like delayed now, but that's okay. That's okay, and the mouse not really. Okay. Oh yeah, okay. I think we're on like a bit of a delay, but that's okay. But that's okay, cause I'm a ghost. Yay. Okay. Where was I? Ah, yeah. So the show was like there were songs, obviously, and they were good. They were serviceable, and people enjoyed them. But there were long parts where they were basically like kind of doing like a little comedy routine, talking about different things, like introducing themselves. That was like a big part, you know. Oh, my name is this. I mean, it's kind of a Japanese culture thing either way. But talking about what they liked, what they didn't like. So that was interesting. Like I didn't realize there would be that much talking, but I think that's also to create like this kind of. So, am I gonna be mean again in a way? And I mean, it's obviously it's not like sex work, right? But like this is kind of like a parasocial girlfriend experience, right? Not in that what that means obviously in actual sex work, but there's kind of like this creation of like, oh, this person I like them, they're so cute, you know, and they're kind of I have this relationship with them, which might be like, you know, a friendship kind of thing, but it might also be like a venue for romantic desires. And I think this kind of stuff does strengthen that feeling in fans, right? Like, you know, talking about what the things they like, what their hardships, what their goals are, and things like that. Much more, but somewhat artificial, right? Like, because I think like a lot of artists, mostly musicians, do also already create this kind of by just talking to the audience and like winging it. When you go to a concert. Oh, this is. Why is this so slow? I need better equipment at some point. But here it's obviously planned. Like you know exactly, they know exactly what they have to say, how they react to each other. They're kind of like supporting each other in a very specific way. It's a routine. Like the talking is also a routine that's been choreographed. Which I think like for a lot of musicians is not really the case. At least in my experience, they often just wing it. Need a better computer. Right. And then also the behavior during the concerts is a bit different. There's like this thing of having light sticks. Which I mean, if you know anime or whatever, or know a lot more about idol culture, then why are you listening to me like stumbling through my inane thoughts on your hobby? You know. Uh, but either way, so these light sticks are a big thing in in concerts, especially for idols. I think here. And what I hadn't noticed before is that like a lot of them are color coded. The idols that we went to, they all have like different colors, and you might be able to see this now also in like different other ones. They often have these different colors because you want to support, uh, because you can show the support for your idol. Still sick, obviously, because no time has passed since the last episode. You can you can show your support for your idol by having the right glow stick on, and people also. So the music is like made in this way where each member of the band, of which there were 6 or 7, I can't remember right now, gets like a part that they sing, and they're front and center, and then like the most ardent supporters will go crazy. They will throw up their glow sticks. They will beat them to the beat. People in the front rows, they would like jump up because obviously the stage is a little bit raised, and they would jump up and try to be like seen by the idol that they prefer. It was very interesting to see. Very, very interesting culture shock in a way, I would say. The idol culture shock for me. I don't like these trees that are so big that I can't get them with one just standing around. Oh, there's the lava we were saying we weren't going to run into. But yeah, I prefer trees that are like 4 high or something like that, so I can just get the wood and go home. Yeah, so people were like trying to get like any sort of attention from the artists, and yeah, I mean there were different tiers of where you would stand. I mean, this is not obviously uncommon generally, like there's better seats and there's worse seats, but here it was based like it was just like a floor, right? But if you wanted to be in the first row, you'd have to pay much more for the ticket. If you were in the second row, you'd pay more than like someone third, which like not real rows, just like parts of the otherwise open floor basically. So yeah, it's really commercial, really like based on like how can we make money. Very like not hidden at all. Kind of, I feel like has a bit of an icky vibe sometimes in music channel. Like people are kind of don't want to seem like they only want money or anything like that. And that was very strong character of this year. I'm actually not sure if people who are big fans perceive it that way, or if this is just my reading as an outsider of it. That would be interesting to know how, like someone who's really into it, if they also see like, oh, this is like I'm being nickeled and dimed. I'm being like in some way, like from my point of view, exploited for uh, some sort of social interaction. They probably wouldn't see, maybe some of them, but many wouldn't see it as exploitation. But um, I wonder if they're still like, well, clearly this is all about money or not. I'm not sure. Yeah, like the jumping up to try to be seen, that was quite surprising. People good jumpers too. I would break my leg, I think. But yeah, that was definitely surprising. Let's see. I have so little wood still, right? Like I mean, this takes a lot of time to get any sort of resource base. I mean, obviously, we can split these into 4 planks, so we have like decent amount of resources, but hmm, it's definitely taking more time than I'd expect. I think I remembered when I was playing it before on my own server. I think for building projects, I would actually just, well, not cheat, because you can play the game however you want, but I would spawn the blocks I wanted, which obviously changes the game considerably. You can suddenly build really elaborate things without having to first acquire the resources painstakingly, which is what I'm doing right now. So one other aspect, which is, sorry, I'm still very sick. Okay. One other more problems with terrible, terrible. I'm not sure if I can even talk. It's kind of difficult for me to talk right now. Yeah, one aspect I think I talked about before with a different, or maybe just to my friends in private. I don't know. But yeah, there was this thing called a graduation, which is like a euphemism for quitting the band or being pushed out. But basically, you're graduating the band, and so you're not in the band anymore. Like, it's a weird kind of framing of it, right? Like as if the band is like an academy or something. Like, okay, I tried out the mute button this time, which I hope worked pretty well. But yeah, so my bell, that was my neighbor's bell. I don't have to do now. Oh, I don't want to disturb the bees. We talked about that. Too big. Okay. And this did happen during the concert we were at. I mean, obviously the concert was a really big one. And then the one of the singers revealed that she was going to graduate slash quit the band by the end of next month. And obviously this was quite shocking to people. There were a lot of people crying in the audience. And I mean, like I said, it was mostly like men, not to be like gender centralist, but I think often. Oh, okay, now my neighbor's getting it directly to their door. That's nice. Some sort of package. Like often I feel like the image is more of like, well, it's very much like the boy bands in a way that they had in the 90s, where when they would break up, obviously that's more. Well, it's not more devastating, I would say, but it's like an end of a complete like thing they did together. Oh, I hate this unspawning and thing. Like, really, my computer's too bad. But yeah, so it's kind of similar to that. Like, I don't know, when NSYNC or InSync or Take That or whatever broke up, and then you see on the news a lot of young girls, well, teenagers mostly, I guess. Maybe young women too. Cry and stuff, and that's kind of the image. And it kind of was like this, like just that it was like older guys, like 50-year-olds, guys that like from the gender expression looked very much like tough guys. Like there was one guy who looked like a cowboy, basically, like which I mean, obviously, it's like there aren't really any cowboys here, so we can talk about the performativeness of that anyways. But yeah, so kind of surprising from my point of view. Um, how impactful it was. But I think the thing is, I mean, I have some experience with this having happened before, so not sure. Might be even more surprising to someone who hasn't. But yeah, I mean, basically, I mean, I guess like if you have this parasocial relationship, then suddenly that person will be just gone from you don't have access to them anymore because they won't be in the band. They won't. You're only interacting through the medium of that band and the band's social media and things like that. So they're just gone for you, which like is that emotion that you invested in, which again, like I said, is real emotion. Um, I mean, it is painful, right? Like I you can understand why it is so painful. It was interesting and a little bit sad to see this happen. To that was the fans, but like obviously the people in the band, and this is I think much more traditionally understandable. There were a lot of them that had been working together for like 3 years or so, and they were obviously devastated for losing, which I guess is a friend. I mean, we could see that some were more affected than others, so I think like very much the friendship aspect of it is something. When you were doing if you're doing something for together for 3 years, obviously very painful to have like come to this end, especially like we don't know what's going on in the background, like who decided this, how was it decided, that kind of thing, what's going to go on. So it was emotional to see that. Some of the performers were crying on stage, and I think traditional that's more understandable, but um we think about just emotional impact, obviously it also has it on fans. Let me see. Yeah, we're coming somewhat to an end. I've been going on left and right and left and right. I mean, the thing is, it was a very interesting experience for me. Um, I don't know if I'm able to convey this to you, dear listener, but it made me think about a bunch of things, or made me rethink about things that I had already thought about. I guess. Oh, I should have. Nah, that's alright. I won't get that much more wood, anyways. Mm, so yeah, that's why we have like over an hour of me talking about different aspects of it. So we're coming to the end though. There's one more aspect I want to talk about, which is this. After the show, you have the option to meet um one of the performers, one of the idols, if you want to. Like you can buy a ticket to meet them ahead of time, or you can buy it afterwards. And we did this to support, of course, our friend. Um, it cost I think 1,000 yen, and for what I heard, at least depending on the thing, like getting the money for these meet and greets. I mean, specifically, what they do in Japan is something called cheki, which means you get a Polaroid with your performer, with the performer you like or dislike. I mean, with the performer you paid to get a photograph with. Um, and that's like one of the main income sources, maybe even the only income sources sometimes for the performers in these smaller idol groups. And yes, so that was an interesting experience. We all lined up. We were there really early, which I was actually kind of thankful for because it got kind of late and I was ready to go home. I'm gonna quit this crazy scene. I'm gonna make a lot of money. Blah, 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 blah. No, that's the wrong way around. Joni Mitchell song, very good. Watch it. Watch it? Oh, maybe. Listen to it. But yeah, so I was ready to go home, but obviously I also wanted to, say congratulations to my friend and talk a little bit to them. So we were in the front of the line, but the line got pretty long. There were like 20 people, I would say, in there, all wanting to get Polaroids. And let me see. I think this might be like, it might be in some ways a pretty nice thing, but often I think this must be pretty nerve wracking for the performers because you just get very close to people who you don't know that well, obviously. They know you, or like they know aspects of you, but you don't know them, and that feels like a little bit scary, right? Like even in anime and manga, you can sometimes see this being portrayed. The people um, where these performers get attacked in often these situations. Uh, and I mean, I don't know how often this actually happens, but it is stuff obviously a fear that you would have, I would think. Because, especially because there's like this very, oh, skeleton. Um, this emotional connection they have to you, and you don't really know them. You don't have, uh, maybe you don't know them at all, and like maybe they suddenly have grievances. I feel like that's like a thing that's very common with influencers, where often their biggest haters used to be some of their biggest fans, and then like there was like some perceived slight, and it turned around this amount of emotion they had into, well, from like love or infatuation or something like that to real anger and hatred. And so that's kind of dangerous, I think. Feels kind of dangerous to me. I mean, obviously nothing actually happened, and um maybe it's not really that big of a problem, but it's just like what's going on in my mind, and I feel a little bit. I wouldn't want to be in that situation, I guess. I mean, but who cares what I want? I'm not doing this. I couldn't be doing this. Um, yeah. Either way, so it's an interesting. Like I do know that some idols, it's the least, fa- favorite thing of the job, and I mean it is definitely very very hard work. I would say it was very much timed. Like it was you got basically 1 minute with the performer, and they had like a little timer that went off. So it's kind of also it again. It just makes the parasocialness of the relationship so apparent, and like I feel like this would put me off so much. I wouldn't like. It's a very neoliberal way of like quantizing everything, right? And I hate that. I wanted to talk. I said this before. I think I wanted to talk about like friendships and what we do owe our friends and what our friendship actually means. Might do that in one of the next videos. But this is kind of the antithesis of this. Like you have an exact amount of time you're allotted to talk to this person you have emotions for, and it's like it's yeah, it's just it's weird. It's so blatant. Really, it weirds me out. And I know it's Jesus, why is this not? Look, it's respawning again and again and again and again. Not even getting it. Hmm. I really need to figure out why this game works so badly on my computer. I mean, I guess I have all the other stuff at the same time, but what can you do? Yeah. So I think that was kind of the end of it. Um, did I already talk about like this, like lotteries when you buy the albums and things like that? There's like a lot of ways to try to make more money for the performance, which I guess it kind of makes sense. Like a lot of that is not what I wanted to do. A lot of musicians are struggling recently, and so like just trying to get the paid in some way, you might have to do like some pretty predatory, I mean, or like inventive ways of making money, I guess. So it's an interesting aspect of it, anyways. I think we're fine here now. I think I mean, this is not that much, but I can probably start in the next one just making a big storage space uh, out of wood. So it's going to be like, I think here, maybe I clean up a little bit that, have like a big wooden house and put stuff in there. Yeah, all right. And comments and love and whatever. See, I'm doing the parasocial relationship. Don't send love. That's not how it works. Um, yeah, see you in the next one. And stay spoopy, friends.